Hi, this is Tony Henry from Western Trail Rider. This is a short video about Copper Sunset, a Tennessee Walker gelding, 7 years old, that I have listed for sale on Western Trail Rider. I'll just show a few things about Copper that an interested person, someone interested in buying him, might want to take a look at. Here you see me going out to catch up Copper. He's standing off in the oak there a little bit. Copper won't come to you, at least he won't come to me in the pasture, but he doesn't run from me. I can walk right up to him and put a halter on him, as you'll see here shortly. I'm sorry about the poor resolution of the video. I didn't realize the resolution was so low on the camera that I was using. In the future I'll use my GoPro, which at the moment I can't seem to locate. Here you'll see me walking up to Copper, and he allows me to put the lead rope over his neck and then put the halter on him and then lead him out. Copper leads very well. He's standing back a little bit here because of the oak. But I like a horse to walk behind me. I don't like a horse to walk next to me when I'm leading them, as show horses generally are trained to do. The reason is that when you're walking on a narrow mountain trail, you can't have a horse walking next to you. He has to be walking behind you. And I generally prefer them to walk far enough behind me that they don't step on my heels. Copper's very good about that. Now here you'll see how calm Copper is. I have him, the rope just hanging over a hook in the bed of my pickup, and he allows me to brush him, all parts of him, without any problem, without any concern. Very easy horse to handle, very calm. He stands very well for brushing, for trimming, for saddling and unsaddling, for handling his hooves, as you'll see here momentarily. Very good horse. You'll see he's a little bit dusty here. The paddock doesn't have a lot of grass in it, and so he tends to roll in the dirt and the mud, and so that's why you see a lot of dust coming off of him right now. Now here you'll see me using a brush on his face and head and ears. He is not head shy and not ear shy at all. Next you'll see me lifting his hooves. He'll lift his hooves just for the asking. Very easy with his hooves. No dancing around, no pulling, no stomping. He has very well formed hooves and they're in very good condition. Here you'll see as I saddle Copper that he's, again, very calm. He's not cinchy. He doesn't worry about the saddle pad. He stands, doesn't hop around, doesn't move around. He has very good withers, a very good conformation. Average saddles fit him very well. Mine is a regular quarter horse bar saddle. Fits him very well. And next I'm going to bridle up Copper, and you'll see just how easy he is to bridle. There's no pulling away the head, there's no rubbing, there's no reticence. He's just a very calm, easy horse to bridle.
So you can go on the other side and see how easy it is to ride.
It's nicer to have the sun behind you though.
The bit that I use is a Robart pinchless gaited bit, which I find works very well for my gaited horses. I use it on my foxtrotters as well as my Tennessee walkers. He accepts the bit very easily, allows you to put his ears through, no bother at all. You'll notice also that he doesn't lift his head away from me. He keeps his head right there at the level where I can work with him. Now generally, you'll see on my other photographs and videos of him, I generally ride with a halter under the bridle in the mountains or when I'm out trail riding. When I get off a horse, say for lunch or to take a break, I don't have to tie the horse by the reins. I can remove his bridle, let him graze. I can tie him to a tree by the lead rope. So generally I leave a halter on underneath the bridle, but in this case I took it off just for this demonstration. Now I've put his breast strap on there and I connected the belly strap on, the chest strap, but during the ride you'll notice that the hook broke on it. I'll have to replace that. I also, you can't see it very well, but Copper looks like he's standing camped under right now. He's standing that way because I put a crupper on him under his tail, and he's not accustomed to it, so he's got his tail clinched down, and that's what he's kind of concerned about. He doesn't react to it at all. There you can kind of see the crupper, and now he's relaxing a little bit, so he'll be fine. Now I'm beginning to teach Copper how to park out. That's where you ask a horse to stretch himself out, which lowers his back a little bit so that it makes it easier for a rider to get on. Now Copper stands, I measured 15 hands, and so when he stretches out like this, it brings his back down a good 4 inches or so. It's like getting on a 14-hand pony. And you notice how solidly he stands, doesn't move around, doesn't back, doesn't jump around, and he'll stand there until you actually ask him to move. Very solid, very confident, and a very comfortable horse to ride. Now as I take him out into the arena, I'm going to demonstrate a few of the things that I've been teaching him. Now you have to understand that he has had very little training up to this point, and he's 7 years old. And so what you see him doing now are responses to leg cues for turning. I used my calf to push the horse in the direction I wanted to turn. I've taught him how to stop well. When I got him, you had a hard time stopping him. I've taught him to stop well. I've taught him to back up. I've taught him to move his front end and his rear end, rear quarters, by cues from my heels. Now here, we've been working for the last few days on a side pass, and he's starting to get it. He's not real good at it yet, not real crisp, but he doesn't fight it, and he's starting to understand what I'm asking for. There, I asked him to move his back end faster because he was moving his front end and not his back end. Now we're backing him up. You'll notice that he's learning how to flex at the pole and give to the bit. He's not fighting the bit like he used to. He's learning to be more supple and more compliant with the bit. And as he learns, as he does so, he becomes smoother in his gait as he flexes his neck and at the pole and rounds his back out a little bit. Now, I didn't give him a chance to warm up very much here, and so you're seeing that he has his head held a little bit high, but that was a very nice stop right there. There's what I want him to hold his head. So we're backing up. He's being a little bit reluctant right now, but as he gets warmed up, he gets much better. Now I'm asking him to move his back end. There we go. Now I'm moving his back end around, disengaging those hindquarters and getting them to move around by my heel, back of the cinch, behind the cinch. There he's moving the other direction, moving his hindquarters around. I'll also ask him to move his forequarters, and you'll see that here in a minute. Again, not being warmed up. He's right now just wondering what it is that I'm doing on his back, showing off here. He is responding very well to neck reining now. When I first got him a month ago, he had no idea what neck reining was. He's always been ridden plow reining, but he now neck reins very well, and he will also be guided by just using pressure from your calves in conjunction with the neck rein. You can see me exaggerating my motions a little bit. When I'm asking him to turn, I'm also leaning into the turn so that he can feel the difference in my weight. And as he learns to respond to that, I'll do it less and less and less. And eventually he'll be able to respond to even slight pressure, leaning one way or the other in conjunction with the neck reining. Here again, we're backing, and I'm asking him to back, and I'm going to ask him to turn while he's backing. Oh, nope, not on that one. We're gating a little bit now, getting him up into his run walk. Again, he's a little bit excited, got the barn right nearby. He can hear the other horses calling to him, and so he's got his head held a little bit high. As we get out on the trail and move around, he relaxes, his head comes down, and he smooths right out. And the more he's ridden, the quicker that will happen. All that being said, he has never been difficult to control. Just a little bit, there you see there, he's there, nice stop. He's still learning, and he'll get better and better and better with mileage. Here we're practicing again, giving him the cue. You just tap him behind the heels, and he learns to stretch out. He's working a little bit better with his right front than he is with his left front, which is unusual because I'm closer to the left side, but that's the way he's learning it. And the more I go, the more I practice this with him, the better he gets at it. You can see how far out he's stretched right now and how close to the ground that stirrup gets. For a 15-hand horse, that's pretty easy getting on. I find this technique called parking out, which is quite common back east. You don't see it much out west. I find it to be a lot more convenient on the trail than teaching a horse to sidle up to a fence or up to a fender, trailer fender, or up to a log. Just sometimes you're out in places where there aren't any logs. And this is a much more convenient alternative because it can be used anywhere at any time. And it can also be used from both sides. He's learning it very quickly, and before long, when you walk up next to him and gather the reins, he'll know what's going on and he'll start stepping out. Now, something else I want to show you here. He ground ties very well. Now, I've just left the reins on his neck, but I pulled off the crupper, and I'm going to walk off. I've already removed his breast strap, and I walked all the way over to my truck, tossed it in my truck, and I'm coming all the way back, and he never moved a hair. And that's standard procedure with him. He ground ties very well, which is quite useful on the trail. And we're practicing again, getting him stretched out there, parking out. Now we'll show you a little bit of his gait. This is me out on the road. My wife taking the video of me coming past. And you can hear his gait. I'll shut up for a second. You can see how smooth he is. And he will keep up that gait somewhere around 5 miles per hour, 5 to 6 miles per hour for miles and miles and miles. I've put more than 100 miles on him in the past month, and he's actually in pretty good condition right now. Such a beautiful horse. Now here I'm removing his bridle, and many of you have had horses when you remove the bridle, they want to rub you and get kind of obnoxious. Here he drops it out. I've got him standing there without even a halter on him. Just throw a rope on him just to make sure he doesn't head off toward his buddies. No rubbing, no nudging, no problem. And yet he is a very affectionate horse. Again, just as he did with saddling, he stands perfectly still when you're unsaddling or saddling or working on his hooves or brushing him. And that's Copper Sunset. He's being offered for sale on my website, westerntrailrider.com/horses for sale. And you'll see him on there. I'll also list him on some of the local classified advertisement pages. If you're interested in purchasing him, the information is on the website. You can email me with any questions that you might have as well at tony.henry, that's HENRIE, at westerntrailrider.com. Thanks for watching.